Hello, and welcome to our presentation for Real Women Run, Changing the Political Landscape in Utah One Girl at a Time. My name is Nikki Crabtree, and I am joined by my team members Meg Glassman, Isaiah Odenkrantz, and Weston Garth. We are all first-year law students at the University of Utah's S.J. Quinney College of Law and represent a wide range of identities, from neurodiverse individuals and LGBTQ identity to those with disabilities and different ethnicities.
We will begin today by discussing the current political situation in Utah before moving on to our opportunity statement for this proposal. We will then cover our recommendations, finances, and implementation strategy before finishing up with some key takeaways.
So let's begin with a look at the political situation here in Utah. As you can see, women are hugely in the minority when it comes to holding elected office. There are many reasons for this substantial gap, from childcare burdens placed more squarely on women and the traditional perception of women as caregivers and homemakers, to Utah's demographic makeup, which consists of a Caucasian supermajority and a rough 50-50 split between male and female identifying people, as well as a heavy religious influence across the state. Psychological factors also contribute. Many women feel as though they are not equipped to run for office, where men have a tendency to run regardless of qualifications. We want to espouse the nation that women are fit to run exactly as they are, and that they don't need to be anything other than themselves to be successful. So let's take a look at the data and female mayors in Utah compared to female mayors across the country. Table 1 and Figure 3 represent the 242 Utah municipalities studied. Of those 242, just 22 had female mayors. And of those 22, 3 represented cities with populations of 30,000 people or more. In Utah, there are 29 cities of populations of that size, which means that roughly 10.3% of mayors of those cities of that size were women. Table 2 shows female representation in city councils. The 4 largest cities in Utah had the fewest women represented at just over 11%. In Utah, just 24.1% of city and town council seats were held by women in 2016. Let's also take a look at the seats that are held by Utah women as shown in Figure 1. A little background first. Of Utah's 29 counties, 23 have elected commissioners, while just 6 have elected county councils. In addition, each county elects a clerk, auditor, treasurer, recorder, and assessor. In 2017, of the 69 county commissioners in Utah, 66 were men and 3 were women. Of the 6 county councils, a total of 42 seats, 35 were filled by men and just 7 were held by women. Also interesting to note is that of the 42 elected county council positions, 8 of them are at-large positions, which means that they represent the entire county, and 7 of those positions were held by men and just 1 was held by a woman. Additional elected county positions reveal a better balance between men and women. Figure 1 does indicate that around 52.5% of the predominantly full-time elected positions of clerk, auditor, treasurer, recorder, and assessor are held by women. As an example, let's consider the elected official makeup of Fillmore, Utah, a town of 2,544 people. Women here hold 12 out of 29 available county positions, which on paper looks pretty decent. It's just over 40%. However, when you examine the data a little closer, the trend of women taking on more responsibility and roles with less leadership potential is clear. Women have a tendency to occupy more traditionally feminine roles, such as library director, office secretary, and clerk roles. These jobs, especially clerk and auditor roles, are often combined into one role instead of being 2 separate jobs, and are more likely to be occupied by women, which means that women are quite literally taking on additional work and responsibility without being in a higher ranking position. This trend is deeply problematic and pervasive across many different forms of government, and is something that we would like to change.
Real Women Run and the YWCA have done great work to inspire women with their webinars. These are a great resource because of their accessibility and their low cost. And now there's an opportunity to build on this inspiration into political representation. Mentorship programs can provide the spark for this political fire. Mentors can be shakers, traditional political roles such as governors, mayors, city council members, or movers, other elected officials such as county commissioners, sheriffs, and attorney generals. It's important to have women more in both of these areas. Theories from sociology shed light on how women have been shut out from opportunities in the past and today. Opportunity hoarding is when members of a group obtain power and authority and then use it to provide and keep their group opportunities. Men have done this by holding political offices and using that power to make it easier to perpetuate their own group's power. We see this done by in-group bias and homosocial reproduction. In-group favoritism is a tendency to favor one's group over others, while homosocial reproduction is a tendency of a person in power to choose other people who resemble themselves. Men have favored other men in their political programs, mentorships, internships, and consequently in hiring and promoting other men over women instead of building a more diverse platform. Women's fight for representation is particularly personal to me because my great-grandma, despite the fact she was orphaned at 16, she went on to become Miss Utah at 18 and politically fierce throughout her life. She often volunteered her home as a polling place and was one of Utah's first women to run for the state legislature. If she had more opportunities such as a mentorship, I believe she would have been one of the first women elected to the state legislature.
Regarding recommendations, our group has come up with a robust political matching program we refer to as the Mover and Shakers program. We believe that to have the most success, we should target multiple levels of commitment because students may only have general knowledge or curiosity, which would be much more relevant to a mentorship program, or they may have existing interests in holding future office, which pairs more with a sponsorship program. With the mentorship program, we plan to have students at the high school and college age paired at a 1-to-10 ratio with local mentors from our political community. They will meet with these political mentors in a group setting 1 to 2 times per month, and those mentors will provide general information on their political roles, while students will in turn have the chance to volunteer at these organizations for 5 hours per month. At the sponsorship level, which is a more rigorous tier, we anticipate young women, also at the high school and college levels, to work at a 1-to-2 or 1-to-1 ratio with sponsors from our community. They will work in individual group settings 1 to 2 times per week and will be provided more detailed information about the day-to-day lives of political members in our community. They will also receive specific details and scaffolding for their own personal career development to become future leaders. And they will work as interns in those political offices for 10 to 15 hours per month. The long-term goal that we have for this program is to also add an education component targeting children ages or at the levels of K through 8 to provide more awareness about political issues. This graphic shows how all of these 4 different components build in this program. While we plan to start with mentorship, targeting women who have general interest in their community and building into sponsorship, which will allow women to gain direct experience in their political activism roles, hopefully leading to long-term leadership positions in our community. We also hope to build in an education component to allow young girls to acknowledge that they also have a potential to be political leaders in Utah.
Funding is a very real and essential element to any type of mentorship program, and as such, we have provided a variety of funding sources to consider to help this program come to life. There are many relevant grants that can be specifically used to highlight a request for diverse programming, and this initiative could meet the requirements if mentees are selected from more diverse backgrounds and schools. Additionally, there are existing foundations through the University of Utah and the Utah League of Women's Voters, as well as private donations that can be harnessed through awareness campaigns like a Real Women Run 5K. I've also put together some information regarding estimated program costs, and we have, as a group, done research on similar program costs, and we've provided higher estimates in this graphic than some of the others in order to provide a realistic, but leaving some room for wiggle room perspective to better meet the needs of Real Women Run and the Movers and Shakers program. We've designated a $25 per hour per mentor stipend. However, this could be transitioned into a volunteer role, which would then remove this as a budget line item. Additionally, the mentor management software is another flexible budget item that can either be purchased from a third party or developed through members of Real Women Run to track and pair mentees and mentors. And we have also included activity costs of running the program with the expectation that this program would be held in person. We also designated funding for a year-end banquet event to celebrate the hard work and connections of the program.
Regarding implementation of the Movers and Shakers program, we anticipate the most success coming from a 5-phased rollout. These include phases of planning, mentorship, sponsorship, education, and ultimately leadership. And I encourage you to spend more time with our executive summary to learn more information about these particular phases.
As for our key takeaways, the first is that there are limited numbers of women that do hold political office in Utah, and that many who do hold office are in more gender traditional roles.
There's also a big opportunity here for a mentor sponsorship program to provide a pipeline for future leadership. This can provide women with an experience to where they feel comfortable going into the political process, and there's a big opportunity for diverse populations because there may be more grant funding there too, and these viewpoints are essential in our political process.
In concurrence with the goals of Real Women Run, this program allows for an easy incorporation of the inclusion and emphasis of BIPOC mentees and sponsees, as well as mentors and sponsors.
Again, we encourage that you take a staged approach to ensure the greatest likelihood of success. And ultimately, we believe this program is a natural extension of Real Women Run as it incorporates education, empowerment, and involvement of young women who we truly believe are going to become our future leaders in Utah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.